All right, so let's jump right in. Today we're doing a deep dive into the Crypto Deep Dive Market Report for January 17th, 2025.
Sounds good.
You know how it is? The crypto world is just buzzing, like always. There are tons of new developments like crazy market moves, regulation updates, and even some interesting new projects hitting the scene.
Yeah, it's definitely been a busy week.
For sure. So, ready to get the short version of what's been happening?
Oh, absolutely.
Hmm.
Always up for a good summary.
Perfect. So first up, the report's showing that the overall market is looking pretty positive. We're seeing a big jump in the global crypto market cap, up by a solid 2.82%. Bitcoin's broken the $104,000 mark.
Wow.
And Ethereum is trailing closely behind, exceeding $3,400.
It's pretty interesting, right? I mean, while we know that these daily ups and downs are just normal, this consistent upward trend, well, it could signal that confidence in the crypto market is actually growing.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And you know what else I noticed? The volume of stablecoin transactions is really going up. It seems like they're becoming more and more popular for people to use every day.
Interesting, like for regular transactions.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And also as a way to kind of hedge against all that volatility.
Makes sense. Oh, speaking of interesting market movements, the report also highlights a, let's just say, unexpected top gainer.
Oh, yes, Fartcoin.
Have you heard of this one?
Of course. It's a classic example of what can happen when you have a strong community and a good sense of humor. Let's be honest, it's a good laugh. But it just goes to show that sometimes all you need is a viral marketing campaign. Even one with a funny name, and things can really take off.
Yeah, true. That is a pretty funny name.
But of course, we have to say, meme coins can be super volatile, so it's always important to do your research before you jump on any bandwagon.
Couldn't agree more. Now let's switch gears a bit and talk about regulation. The report highlights that the EU's DORA rules have officially come into effect, expanding on the existing MiCA framework.
Right. Big changes in Europe.
So can you remind us what that all means for the European crypto landscape?
Yeah, so DORA is all about really boosting cybersecurity and risk management for crypto firms. It's basically like they're laying down the groundwork for a more stable and secure environment, which, ultimately it's a big step toward making crypto more mainstream in Europe.
That makes a lot of sense. So it sounds like some companies are already embracing these new regulations. The report says Borussia Stuttgart Digital Custody just became the first in Germany to get a MiCA license for crypto custody services.
That's right. They're the first ones in Germany. It's a pretty big signal that these established institutions are taking MiCA seriously. I mean, it really sets a precedent for other players in the EU and kind of pushes the whole crypto market towards a more mature and regulated phase.
I see what you mean.
Yeah.
And what about Binance? They're one of the giants in the crypto exchange world, and it looks like they're aligning their Polish operations with MiCA too.
Yeah, I saw that they're updating their transaction protocols to comply with the travel rule, for anti-money laundering. It's a really significant move, for a company as big as Binance to be adapting to these regulations shows that they're thinking long-term and they see the value in operating within a compliant framework. It's a really good sign for the industry in general, especially when it comes to things like anti-money laundering compliance.
Absolutely. And it's not just Europe where we're seeing this kind of institutional interest in crypto. The report also mentioned that Indian billionaire Mukesh Ambani's Jio platforms has launched JioCoin on the Polygon network.
Oh, yeah. That was big news.
It's generating a lot of buzz for sure.
It's a fascinating development, especially when you consider the potential for widespread crypto adoption in India. I mean, we don't know the exact purpose of JioCoin yet. It's still under wraps, but Jio has a massive reach in the telecom and digital services sectors.
Right.
So it makes you wonder, could this be used for things like mobile payments, e-commerce, even content distribution? It's definitely something to keep an eye on.
I think so too. It really highlights how diverse the crypto world is becoming. And speaking of diverse developments, did you see that even Post Finance, a state-owned bank in Switzerland, is now offering ETH staking services?
It's incredible, isn't it? This is a super traditional financial institution jumping headfirst into the world of proof-of-stake networks.
I know. It's crazy.
It really shows that the lines between traditional finance and crypto are starting to blur. Offering ETH staking to their customers makes it seem more legitimate as an investment. And it totally paved the way for other banks to start exploring similar offerings.
Yeah, I think you're right. Okay, so far we've got a positive market trend, regulations coming into play, and big institutions starting to dip their toes into the crypto waters. It's all very exciting. But the report also points out some challenges, particularly in the NFT market. It seems like the digital art platform MakersPlace is shutting down.
Yeah, that was unfortunate to hear. It's a reminder that the NFT space is still trying to find its footing. While some platforms are struggling, others are innovating and finding their niches.
Yeah, that makes sense.
The decline in NFT trading volume over the past year has definitely put a lot of pressure on certain platforms. It'll be interesting to see how the NFT space adapts and evolves from here.
I agree. And on a more positive note, there's also the launch of EDU Chain on the Arbitrum network. It's backed by Yahtzee, who's a pretty prominent figure in the Web3 space.
Oh, yeah. EDUChain is doing some really cool things. They're taking on this really interesting challenge of using blockchain technology to change how we learn, earn credentials, and verify skills. Just imagine a world where your educational achievements are securely stored and easily verifiable on a blockchain.
Wow.
That's exactly the vision they're working towards, and honestly could have a massive impact on education and professional development.
Oh, did you get that out?
Cool.
Definitely something worth watching. And finally, the report mentions that Tether's CDO is being cautious about expanding into the U.S. market. They say they need more regulatory clarity before making any big moves.
It's a wise move. The U.S. regulatory landscape for crypto is still very much evolving, and a lot of industry leaders believe that having those clear guidelines is really crucial for attracting investment and encouraging responsible growth in the crypto space.
It's a complex dance,
Yeah.
trying to find that balance between innovation and regulation.
Yeah,
But that's what makes the crypto world so dynamic.
you got it. And that's what keeps us coming back for more.
Exactly.
It really is. And, speaking of navigating this crazy world, the report also dives into some of the technical stuff going on, particularly within the Solana community. It seems like there's this ongoing debate about Solana's emission model
Oh, yeah, I read about that.
and how it could impact decentralization.
Right. Decentralization, that's like the whole point of blockchain, right?
Exactly.
But I'll be honest, sometimes those technical details can get a bit, technical. Could you maybe break it down for me and for our listeners too, in a way that's easy to understand?
Yeah. Sure. So you already know that decentralization is super important. It means that no single entity has control over the network, which helps to protect it from things like manipulation or censorship. Now, in Solana's case, their current model for distributing new tokens, well, it's kind of sparked this debate because some people are worried that it could end up with too much power concentrated in just a few hands.
I see.
So the community is now exploring a market-based system, as a possible way to make things a bit more balanced.
Oh, okay. So it's like this constant back and forth, trying to find that sweet spot between security, scalability, and decentralization.
Exactly. It's definitely a balancing act. And, this whole debate within the Solana community just shows how the crypto world is always evolving and trying to improve. It's not about sticking to one way of doing things. It's about finding the best path forward.
It's a good reminder that we're still in the early stages of all this, and there's just so much more to discover and figure out.
Mm-hmm.
Now, on a slightly different note, the report also mentioned that there might be delays for Solana-based ETFs, maybe until as late as 2026, because of some ongoing lawsuits.
Yeah, that's true. That's where the regulatory and legal side of things comes back into the picture.
Right.
So ETFs, or exchange-traded funds, are basically like these investment vehicles that track an asset, like Solana, for example. They're a way for traditional investors to get exposure to crypto without having to directly buy and hold the asset themselves.
Makes sense.
But these lawsuits are creating some uncertainty, which could definitely slow things down.
Makes sense. It's a good reminder that patience is key in the crypto world.
For sure.
The potential rewards can be really exciting, but it's super important to be aware of the risks and, to always stay informed about the constantly changing regulatory landscape.
Couldn't agree more. So as we're wrapping up this deep dive, what are your main takeaways from today's Crypto Deep Dive Market Report? What really stuck out to you?
It's interesting to me. It's this convergence of all these major trends happening at the same time. We've got this positive market sentiment regulations becoming more clear, big institutions showing some real interest in these innovative projects with real-world applications. They're popping up left and right. It really feels like the whole ecosystem is maturing.
I'm with you on that. It seems like the Wild West days of crypto are fading. We're moving towards something more structured and legitimate, and that's what's attracting these big players. They bring capital expertise and a sense of stability.
Yeah, for sure. And we can't forget about the incredible pace of innovation. Projects like EDU Chain, well, they're a perfect example of how blockchain can totally disrupt traditional industries and create these amazing new opportunities.
It really is a thrilling time to be involved in this space.
Absolutely. But before we sign off, I want to leave our listeners with one final thought.
Okay, I like it.
Today's report is just a snapshot of what's happening right now. And it's just a single day in a world that's constantly changing. But the real story here is the bigger narrative.
Right.
It's about innovation adaptation and the pursuit of a decentralized future.
It makes you think.
It makes me wonder, what role do you see yourself playing in all of this? What kind of impact do you want to make? These are some big questions worth thinking about as we all continue exploring this new and exciting frontier together.
Wow, yeah, those are some pretty big questions. It really is a good reminder that the future of crypto isn't just about, the technology and the numbers. It's really about the choices we make and the actions we take. It's about people.
Exactly. We're not just watching all of this happen. We're a part of it. We're shaping its direction. And I think that's what makes it so exciting and empowering. So as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to thank you for joining us today on this little journey into the heart of the crypto world.
Absolutely. It was a pleasure to be here.
I hope you found it insightful and maybe even sparked some new ideas or, got you thinking about some new questions.
For sure. It's such a constantly evolving space that staying curious and informed is key.
Absolutely.
Knowledge is power, especially in the crypto world. So we really encourage you to keep exploring, keep learning, and keep engaging with this amazing crypto community out there. Who knows? Maybe you'll be the one to create the next big thing or even inspire others to join this incredible movement.
I love that. Couldn't have said it better myself. And hey, if you're looking for more deep dives into all the latest crypto trends, be sure to subscribe to our podcast and follow us on social media.
Yeah, we're always here to help you navigate this exciting world of digital assets. Until next time, happy exploring.
And remember, the future of crypto is in your hands. Make it count.